Coming to you live from the Business RadioX studio, it's Franchise Marketing Radio, brought to you by IDS, an award-winning digital marketing agency that delivers integrated marketing solutions for franchisors, franchisees, and franchise development teams. Learn why over 75 brands depend on IDS's team of dedicated marketers and client service professionals to deliver a strong ROI on their marketing investment. Go to idsfranchisemarketing.com for a complimentary digital audit and consultation.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Franchise Marketing Radio, the show where we bring you inspiring conversations with industry leaders and franchise experts. Today, I have a special guest. His name is Christopher Allison. He's the Chief Marketing Officer of Slim Chickens. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Rob.
And I think I just introduced you the way your mom does. I am sorry, Chris.
That's okay.
The
introduction, Christopher's fine, but just call me Chris.
There you go. We could go both ways. So you're a very flexible guy. I get that. Hey, it's great to have you. And certainly the brand Slim Chickens, for me at least, I know you're in 32 states, but for me, I know it. We got 2 locations probably and growing here in Colorado Springs. So love it. And I have some experience with it other places. So it's great to be talking to you. I always like that when I get to talk to people that I actually am a customer of beforehand. So it's kind of cool. But tell us a little bit more about Slim Chickens, your role as Chief Marketing Officer, how I know you've got a storied career in franchise marketing and restaurant marketing. Tell me a little bit about how that connection was made. And then, you're inheriting Slim Chickens, sort of like this momentum, right? This brand that people really love. Tell me a little bit about what your plans are going forward.
Yeah, so that's a big, long question there. So I'll give you the quick background of how I got introduced and became a partner and also the Chief Marketing Officer with Slim Chickens. But I come from an agency background. I worked for several different agencies over the course of my career, and then started my own firm in 1996. It was based in Little Rock, Arkansas. We mainly specialized in regional and national restaurant chains. It was a full service agency, and we went through the whole process of shifting from what was then traditional media to adding non-traditional media, and now it's all just media. But it was a great run. I had the firm for 17 years, and in 2010, I sold the firm to another firm, and I had a 5-year non-compete. So I did what everybody does when you sell your firm and you have a non-compete. You become a consultant, right? And so I spent 5 years as a consultant. And over the course of that time, I worked for the agency that was the purchaser of our firm, but also for a number of other clients who were outside of the agency world, outside of the agency relationship. And one of those was Slim Chickens. And it was ironic because, I had known Slim Chickens and Tom and Greg, the 2 founders, Tom Gordon and Greg Smart, really vicariously from when they had started, since they started in Fayetteville, Arkansas. And there was also a close connection. Tom Gordon's mother used to work for me. So as they were kind of starting off in the very early days and really, struggling to build this concept, there would be a moment of Tom's mom coming in and asking some questions and looking for a little bit of advice, which was always nice. And I think always speaks to kind of the relationship that we have as partners as well as colleagues here at Slim Chickens. So that we started, I did a couple of projects for him. Tom Gordon, eventually he and Greg decided that they really wanted me to be a part of the brand, and not only just from a marketing standpoint, but as part of the team that helped build the concept. And my wife and I moved to Northwest Arkansas and started here at Slim Chickens almost 6 years ago. And it's just been a whirlwind since then.
Yeah, I bet it has. You threw up a couple of quick ones here in Colorado Springs, and they're killing it. So
yeah,
it must be a whirlwind.
Right.
I think you said every 7 days or so you open a new one. So it's pretty amazing.
Currently we have 170 stores open in the U.S. We open a store about every 7 days. We're going to do, I think we're going to be close to maybe above or below, depending on some construction deadlines and things like that, which always have a little bit of play in a new business opening, regardless of what kind of business you're in. About 170 units in the U.S. We have 45 in the U.K., and that's certainly an exciting thing for us as well. And we look for that growth to continue very aggressively there as well.
Yeah. Yes. So you were telling me, so just listening carefully to your answer earlier, I'm thinking, oh, so the mom of your customer was, I'm like, you got to be careful there. So you obviously did a good job because you were accepted into the family.
Yes.
Helping mom out. Right. That's good, man. That's good. You passed that test early on.
Yeah.
But tell me a little bit about, so, every 7 days you have a launch, and I think they're beautiful. It's a beautiful concept. I love it. Tell me a little bit about the recipe that goes into a launch from a marketing standpoint, right? There's this idea that we just talked about. You kind of have this sort of, like, anyone who knows you knows that people care about your food, but like, how do you just create that maybe in a new market? Like, What do you do? Yeah.
Well, it's a great question. And I get that question all the time, particularly from potential franchisees of, how are you going to launch this brand in my market where there's little to no awareness of Slim Chickens? And the answer is pretty simple. Every place that we've opened a restaurant in the last 4 years has little to no awareness of Slim Chickens because we were just a small brand. And so every market is a new market for us, whether it be in the UK or whether it be in Sioux Falls, where we opened a third store up there not too long ago, or Minot, North Dakota, or Sparks, Nevada, where we just opened a few weeks ago, and Lexington, Kentucky, which we opened a couple of weeks ago. So it's a new market everywhere we go. And from a new restaurant opening standpoint, we follow one mantra, which is establish ourselves as a part of the community and not part of a chain. And that goes through the process, a very meticulous process in our new restaurant opening program to ensure that we're speaking in the Slim's voice as a friend and a family member or a part of the community and not part of a national chain that's come into town.
Yeah, I mean, and I tell you, we live in this weird digital world that snuck up on us. Like, for anyone that's like my age and maybe your age, it's like it finally happened. The world is really different from when I grew up. But one of the things that I would say about a place like a restaurant concept, and you mentioned community, I think it's going to be more and more important to feel connected to the places we do business, to be able to go into a place and interact, even if it's for 15 minutes. You feel like, oh, those people are cool, they're nice, they're cheerful, great food, maybe hang out there and eat. The point is that the interaction is less than it used to be. Not all of us go to work every day and interact in an office environment. We're on a screen, And so human interaction and relationship to me is important. And I think that a lot of the concepts that already have that model, I think it'll have a different meaning in the future, right? So tell me a little bit about, I know you guys do some unique things from a marketing standpoint to help with engagement, to help connect with people. You have things like reward apps, and I know you have a catering service so you can work with businesses in the area. And then, of course, there's apparel and stuff like that. And, you have, like, I don't know, a little store or whatever, which I think is cool because when people care about their food or a brand they like wearing some of the apparel. I think those are all important marketing ideas. Tell me about them. Tell me about those ideas and any other ideas you have. It kind of makes people feel a little bit more fanatical, I guess, kind of like it's like not just, hey, I go grab something quick. It's more like, I really love this food. But tell me a little bit about how the marketing plays into that.
Yeah, so it's a great question. The digital evolution really benefited those brands that are the emerging brands. It allows us to have the kind of connectivity that we need to establish a relationship and create an emotional bond with our guests, which make them raving fans, or in our world, we call them enthusiasts. And that's, that's the goal that we have with our digital channels. And just a few years ago, I can remember when that was the holy grail of how do I speak directly to all my guests on a day-to-day basis in a voice that is relevant to them with information that's relevant to them. And the digital evolution allows us to do that now. And so it's an important part of our business. The other part is really understanding our sales channels and how we change that message based on the channel. So, used to, you had in the restaurant business, it was simple. You had dining room and you had drive-through. And it was pretty simple. Just get more people to come in the dining room and get more people to come through the drive-through. Today, we have dining room and drive-through. We have third-party delivery platforms that we all have to maintain a brand presence on, and which is kind of challenging sometimes because it's somebody else's brand that you're actually on. You have curbside, you have to go, you have our own white label delivery with our catering program, as you mentioned. And then you still have traditional call-in where people actually pick up a telephone and call the restaurant, and how you manage that in a busy day. And then you have our own OLO, or our own online ordering systems, which includes both our app and our loyalty program, as well as our desktop slimchickens.com ordering site. So now you're talking about the need not only to talk to your guests, but to talk to them about all of these different channels. And some of them use multiple channels and some of them only use a few. So I think the first thing that we always try to do is to try and imagine how Slims would speak to those people through those channels and maintain that brand's voice. And that's really has been the strategy, the underlying strategy of everything we've done over the past 6 years. And it even gets down to our positioning line of fresh, delicious chicken, which, it's I always like to share this piece of our story with potential franchisees, and of course with you today. But when I first started working at Slim Chickens, one of the things that we looked at is what is our positioning line? What is the truth and the transparency of the brand? And we did guest intercepts in our restaurants, and it really had nothing to do with a marketing survey that we were doing. It actually had to do with a product survey that we were doing. But the last question on that survey was, in 4 words, describe Slim Chickens. And the 4 words were fresh, delicious, chicken, and yummy, which were the top 4 words. So that's how we approached marketing. We knew that was honest and it was transparent, not because a marketing person came up with it or an advertising agency person came up with it or a consultant person came up with it, but because our guests told us that. And as long as we maintain that transparency and honesty with our guests, I think we can be successful.
Wow. That was a clinic on marketing right there. Even though you just kind of sound, we're just talking it's a casual conversation, but as a marketer, I'm paying attention. No, but really, I mean, if you can get your customers to say the words that you feel your brand represents, man, have you done a good job. But also, it also tells me something else about marketing. And it's nothing new with great franchise brands, but the food itself is the marketing, because if it's really good, you're going to talk about it a lot more than normal. So to me, that's a huge thing. And obviously now there's digital platforms for reviews, which probably as a standard, I would think you guys do pretty well, unless someone gets mad about something and you have to deal with it. But the reality is, for the most part, people probably reflect what we're talking about here in those kinds of venues. Is there something from a social media, because that's such a big thing today with communities, people being online like Facebook or what have you? Is there something you think about when you're communicating over social media? Is it just make sure you're conveying that sort of fresh, delicious, yummy kind of idea? Because I know with imagery, restaurants have some of the best images, make you hungry, right? When you look at a picture. But like when you do social, is there something unique you do or have found that kind of gets that engagement or gets people to take an action? Is there something you found that kind of connects on social platforms?
Yeah, social is an interesting platform, because it really is exactly that, a social platform. And you want to create a conversation, and it's not a sales channel platform. The social channels aren't really a place to try and sell product all the time. And so when we have a new promotion, like our new Nashville hot chicken sandwich, which we just started, we're going to use that imagery and we're going to use some of those things on social media. But at the same time, we're also using social media to build that emotional connection and relationship with the brand. So right now, we're running on our social platforms promotion called Chill with Slims. And we ask Slims enthusiasts to upload their images of how they're chilling with Slim this summer. And that'll go on for 30 days. And, then we'll have a group of judges who will select the top 5 winners. And I think 3 of those people win free Slims for a year. And then we have a lot of gear and swag that we'll send out. So, it's not about just selling, chicken tenders or chicken wings or chicken sandwiches. It's really about using the social aspect of those channels, which is what they were designed for, to create an emotional connection with the brand. And that leads to sales.
Oh, I mean, that's what I was saying earlier too. I think more so now, more than ever, is about what you're saying, right? It's like, because there's so many choices, right? Like you can drive down the street and there's 100 zillion choices. And it's really about the place you just said. How are you going to chill with Slims? Well, I just like the whole idea of what you just said. The word chill and Slims in one sentence is kind of cool, right? But so like you're leveraging the brand, you're leveraging sort of the experience side of something as just basic as chicken food, right? Like, I mean, no, man, it's more than that though. It's great food. It is a place to chill. So that's really important. So tell me, like you've got 170 locations and growing, you've got stuff internationally. You got stuff all over the country, I think. I mean, 32 states, I know it's pretty broad. It's not like it's all down south. So tell me how you take that Southern hospitality feeling, that the Slims cool feeling that you just gave me just talking. Like, how do you take that into the UK, let's say? Like, is there something you have to do that's more pronounced because you're in the UK and it's a very different culture? Or is it just doing what you do everywhere and it just works well? Like, how does that work?
Yeah, that's the great thing about Southern hospitality is Southern hospitality is almost universally and globally known. So you don't have to convince people or to educate people what Southern hospitality is. You just have to prove that you have it. And as long as you focus on that, and we focus on that, Southern hospitality plays extremely well in the streets of London in the same way that it does in Helotes, Texas. And, we've opened stores in Texas that seem like they were in a completely different world as well. So every community is unique, but they all have a understanding of what Southern hospitality means at some level. So that gives us a opportunity to break through the barrier and to create the trial, which eventually creates the Slim enthusiast that we're looking for.
I love that. That's amazing. So like you've said a lot of things in this conversation that would tell me why you're unique, right? But I happen to be a guy that knows about a lot of different franchise brands and just an older person that's been a consumer a while. So I hear a lot of things that sound unique, but tell me more. You're in a competitive space. Tell me more about what you think is unique and what you might share with some of your franchisee prospects when you talk to them. What makes you different?
I think the first thing that makes us unique is our product itself. And it's 100% natural chicken. It's made to order, buttermilk marinated, hand breaded, and served with one of our 17 house dipping sauces. So if you ask me, what are your 5 reasons to go to Slim Chickens? I would recite those 5 reasons to begin with. And that's what we want to educate people to make them understand why we are different from a product standpoint. That makes us unique. The other things that make us unique is the vibe and the feel of the restaurant, which we call Southern chic. It's upscale or fast casual. We don't want to be considered QSR. We're making to order. We're making our food fresh, and it's going to take a little longer. And we try and make that, which some people would see as a weakness in their brand. We try to make that a strength in our brand. And I would rather a guest be a little bit concerned with the fact that it took 6, 7, 8, 10 minutes to get their food but that it was 10 times better than what they would get across the street in that drive-through. And if we can deliver on that promise of the quality, and we deliver on the promise of Southern hospitality, and then we just use some good old-fashioned marketing to let people know about that and encourage them to stop by and give us a chance, we can win.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, it's the marketing is in the dipping sauces, right? I read that about what is it, 17, you said? Is that how many? Yeah.
It's a royal number. They go up and down.
I was wondering. Yeah, I figure you invent new stuff. Is there something that goes into that? So now we're talking more about the chef side of things, or the tasting, the palate. Like, who comes up with those sauces? Is there a process? How does that work?
Yeah, we have a in-house chef Susan, who works on product development all day, every day. And we have a product development team, which includes myself as well as our COO and several other of our senior level management people, so that we're constantly looking at what are trends, what are flavor profiles that are emerging, and how can we capitalize on that. And typically, we just did a promotion not too long ago around our dry rub wings, which is lemon pepper, cayenne ranch, and Nashville Hot, which was the predecessor to the Nashville Hot Chicken Sandwich. That's our current promotion. And those became flavor profiles that we could introduce on a limited time only basis. And we have stores that keep them year round. But, when I say it's a kind of a royal 17, the great thing about having that arsenal of different flavors is, from a marketer standpoint, it's a dream. I can create promotions all day long, and I don't have to bring any new SKUs in.
Oh, no, you just mix and match different flavors.
Yeah, we did a promotion a few years ago, and it was actually a combination of two of our sauces. And we did a contest with our general managers in all of our restaurants, and it was the contest was called "Tell Me What You Make When Nobody Else Is Looking." And so what we wanted to find out, the guys that live there every day, all day long, what are they doing that might be unique? And we had a general manager, I believe it was out of Tyler, Texas, that sent us in a recipe for what he called devil's smoke, which was the combination of our honey barbecue and our mango habanero sauce. And you mixed them together, and you got this sort of sweet taste when you ate a wing, but after you finished it, you got this heat, so he called it devil's smoke, and it was a great story and a great promotion for us. But that's kind of how we also approach product development. Is we don't just look inside our four walls. We're talking to the people who live this brand every day at the store level, and that's really where the great ideas come from.
Yeah. No, we talk about franchising, the concept of it all the time on the show, right? Like, just the brilliance of having all these smart people and creative, and in this case, foodies that really are just coming up with new ideas. What are you doing all day, right? What are you coming up with? And it's funny how hot food is like that. We all love hot food. We love it's like, let me try that, even though it's making my head burn off. It's just fun. It must be fun from a marketing standpoint. So as we, wrap up the show today, and I appreciate your time today, Chris.
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. Tell me a little bit. You've been around a while, and you've got a lot of experience. If you're talking to a young marketer, a young audience of digital marketing people in the franchise industry, marketing in the restaurant space, is there any advice that you would give them in terms of how to approach marketing? Just a core idea you would never abandon, even with all this change. Mm-hmm. Is there something like that, or even something you could share from a mentor that kind of stuck with you that you've always incorporated in your journey?
Yeah, it's I think my advice would be, one, make sure you're passionate about it, and if you don't love it, go find what you love and do that. Because then you will never have a job and you'll always be happy, and you'll kind of be like me, with always looking for another reason not to retire. And so that would be my first piece of advice. if you really have that passion for marketing, get in early. And ground floor is typically how you get into the marketing side, whether it be on the corporate side in a restaurant franchisor scenario or an advertising agency. But if you can get in the door, you can really begin to explore the way you can grow and use that passion in a way that makes you feel really happy and fulfilled at the end of the day. Marketing is not it's not hard work, but it's very fulfilling work. And if you truly love it, it's almost an addiction.
Well, I can vouch for that. I would say that's a word. It's an interesting word, but I've often heard, success is really about this passion. It's almost like an addiction, right? Maybe in a positive way. And I also love what you said about retirement. I don't know in our world if there is such a thing, really, or there should be.
I don't either.
You know what I mean?
I don't either.
I don't know. Preston is a pretty old gentleman. I don't know that you need to retire if you like. Well, I guess he likes what he does. But anyway, I think that's right. And as a marketer, I see myself just continuing to market things I believe in and I love and that are cool. And just in general, I think franchising is cool, right? I think the concept, the idea, it would be very hard to do what the guys did when they started Slim Chickens, right? Like mom came to you and had all those questions, right? It wasn't really easy to get that going. But I tell you what, if you plug in now, it's one of the best ways to start a business. So is there a way that folks can get more information about the opportunity? Clearly, they can Google Slim Chickens or look for it online if they're interested in if there's one nearby. But how about the opportunity of joining your team? How do they learn about that?
Yeah, so it depends on the level that they're interested in. Obviously, we have our slimchickens.com and our locations page. There's links there to all the restaurants if they're interested in working at a restaurant or talking to a restaurant. If they're interested in talking to us here at the corporate office, they can always contact us through our contact forms, which are on the website page, or they can certainly always just reach out to the office here directly in Fayetteville, Arkansas.
Excellent. Perfect. Well, Chris, it was a pleasure. I appreciate you being here. I hope to have you back again soon.
Yeah, it'd be my pleasure. I'd love to.